Hey guys, Shredna Beats here, and in this tutorial I will be covering how to mix your beats to make them sound really clean, really good sounding with crispy drums and all that. So I feel like this is a really important topic and it's a really key thing to know if you want to get far in the business. Let's say you want to send out your beats for placements or to artists, or maybe just selling them online. Of course, to get the customers to like the product, they want to have it sound really nice and clean. So this is a major part of the beat making process. So first we gotta make the beat, and I've loaded all my drum sounds I'd like to use, and I also found a sample to work with. First off, I'm going to make the beat by not adjusting any of the knobs and volumes or EQ anything, just so you can get like a hint of how it sounds without the mixing, and then after we can look at how it sounds when it is mixed, and there will be a major change to how it sounds. So the sample I chose sounds like this. Really cool sample. So first off, I'm gonna start by finding the pitch or the key of the melody, and to do that I usually just right click in the corner of it and pitch correct sample. Now this plugin called New Tone will load up, and it's the waveform of the sample where it like shows the different times it switches its pitch, and the first sound it makes is in G. So now we know that our 808 is going to be starting in G. And it's really important to make your beats in key and have your melodies and 808s in key, since the 808 is not a drum and also a melodic element. Of course it needs to be in key or it will sound terrible. So I'm just going to start by making a little pattern for the 808. So I'm just going to place that out really quick. Just check that and you can also, here's a tip, if you don't know what the pitch is or you want to look for it by ear, I recommend that you go an octave or two up so the pitch is really high. This makes it easier for you to hear the sound of the 808 and then adjust it to the melody's sound. But I'm just going to go a single octave up, and then I'm going to make sure I place the pattern out here, and then I'm just going to draw in a pattern. So now we have our 808 pattern done. I'm just going to move this an octave down again to have it in its original place. Now it sounds like this. Sweet. And now we can move on to our hi-hats. So I'm just going to make this simple and right click and click fill each second step. This will fill in each second step, of course. It's just a shortcut instead of filling in it yourself. So now it sounds like this. And of course we can make some variations. We can make some rolls here and there. I'm just going to put a quick little roll in the beginning, and then we will have a faster roll. I choose a third step for that. Then I use the pencil tool, so I can just paint it in real easy. So let's try to make it here. Sweet. And we can also make another one later in the beat. We can make it over here maybe. think that's good for now. So now we will move on to our claps, and I chose a clap and a snare for this. So I'm just going to fill in each of these steps as I normally do. There we go. And I also chose another snare just to fill in. So I'm just going to add here. That sounds good to me. And now we can move on to some open hats. And to make it simple, I will just place it a bar before the, a step before the clap hits. It sounds like this. And for our last element, I will just place down our kick. There we go. So now that we have our beat done, basically, with all the sounds placed in, we can move on to the next step, which is mixing. So now we move on to the next step, which is the mixing part. And this is where we do adjustments to all the sounds to make it sound really nice. And right now the beat sounds terrible because we haven't done anything to it yet, so it just sounds like plain and everything's clashing together and all that. So what I like to do is I would like to, I usually just bring all the knobs to like 50%, and then I turn my headset up quite a bit, just so I'm not getting deaf when I play the beat. But I want my headset to be quite on a quite high volume, so I know what the beat's gonna sound like if it's getting blasted through a headset. Because sometimes if you listen to the beat on low volumes, and the claps and snares might not sound that loud, but then when you turn it all the way up, it really hurts your ears. So that's how I'm going to adjust it. But for the sake of the video, I'm not going to sit and turn everything down to 50. I'm just going to do it by ear here, since I already have my headset quite on a high volume. So what I'd like to start with is just listen to the beat. So let's listen. The first thing I hear is the kicks aren't really slapping through your mix. It just sounds like it's non-existent. So what we can start with is just adjusting the volume of the kick to be like at its max. And this will definitely do a major change in the beat. Let's try to listen to it now. Just already by doing that, it helps massively. But to help your kick slap more through the mix, I like to go onto my my master channel in the mixing panel. I'm just going to remove all these. And to make the kick slap more through your mix, I like to add a soft clipper. I don't need to do anything to it because it's already on a good setting, so now it will sound a lot better as well. That's nice. The next thing I want to do with my mix is bring down the hi-hats, because they tend to get really clicky and loud when the volume's really loud. And also with this specific hi-hat, it's really a long hi-hat, which I don't want it to be. I want it to be like a short and crispy hi-hat. So if we listen to it now, oops, listen to it here, there's also a bit of clicking at the end. So what you can do to fix this is go into the channel settings here, in the settings of the hi-hat, and just bring the out knob a reasonable amount up. Now it's really just nice and crisp and short instead of this. So I brought it about a quarter, 25% up. So now the hi-hat sounds really nice. Now something else about the hi-hats is when I go into lower pitches, it gets really loud to the ear as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the velocity of this roll and just bring it down a bit. Because if we listen to it when it was up here, it's a bit more louder than the normal pitch of the hi-hat. So I'm just going to bring that a bit down. This one over here is fine. The next thing I want to do is fix some of the frequencies. Now, whenever you work with a melody, there's going to be low frequencies, mid frequencies, and high frequencies. And of course, when you put your 808 in, there's going to be a lot more of the lower frequencies. And when you have more sounds with lower frequencies, they're of course going to clash together. And in our melody, we're not really going to focus on the low end of the frequencies, since we want our 808 to stand out more. So I want to EQ my melody to remove all the low frequencies, so my 808 won't clash together with the melody and sound muddy. So I usually just go up to the icon here of the purple, and that's the low end frequencies, and I just click and bring it down to this curve, and then I go onto the cube here and I just scroll down to make it a sharp corner. Then I bring the frequency back to around 250-ish. It depends on the sample. Sometimes you can be allowed to like go to 200 if you just want some extra feeling to the melody, some extra vibe. What we did right here just helps the track massively. If we listen now, just by that we can hear a change. We can hear our 808 smashing through the mix more, but I think it's a bit plain, to be honest, still. So I'm just going to bring the volume up on it. There we go. Now we can really hear the 808. But now when we turn the volume up of the 808, our kick starts to get slightly lower and isn't really smashing through anymore. So with this specific kick, I like to add a EQ on it. And here I like to boost the 300 hertz-ish a bit. And I bring also the high frequencies of the kick a bit down on this specific kick, because there's also a little clicking sound at the end of the sample. Sweet. And now we're going to adjust our claps. Because the clap is like, I think it's the main part of the bounce in the beat. If this clap and snare is too low, it just takes so much away from the beat. So I want this to be reasonably loud, not too loud to make it hurt your ears, but just slightly below that, so it's you can listen to it without getting bothered. So I'm just going to adjust this now. There we go. And then I'm going to adjust my snares. my other snares. There we go, and the last thing we need to adjust is our open hat. And what I like to do sometimes with the drums is play a little bit with the panning to make it sound either left or right. This is just to add some more depth to your beat, to make it more stereo. So sometimes I like to bring it like more to the left. Sometimes the sample itself just sounds a bit more louder in your right ear, and that kind of bothers me sometimes. So I like to just fix this by panning it to one of the sides. And also I don't like to make the hi-hat, the open hats, too loud, because that also just can be bothering to listen to. So now that we have our basic mixing done for the beat, we can add some final touches here and there. To give your beat more clarity, you can add a EQ, and in this EQ you can boost your high ends and your mids and your lows just a bit. The lows don't need that much of adjusting, but the highs and mids need like equally amounts of adjustments. So if we listen to this now, I'm just going to boost the melody a bit. And to make your hi-hat stand out a bit more, you can also go into the same EQ and add this curve to the high end of the spectrum and just bring this up around here. This just gives the hi-hats a bit more room to just go through the mix. There's also methods that you can just get your claps or hi-hats more clarity if you like that. You can just go click on the channel that you've routed your clap to, and you can go down here to this EQ and just boost the high ends a bit. And there we go. This is basically how you can mix your beat to sound really nice and crispy. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them down in the comment section and I will most likely answer them. Also, if you have any other video requests, I will also listen to those and probably do them as well. Other than that, then please hit that subscribe button and like and comment. That will help me out a lot. See you.